Got a 1985 Honda. This is a 250 ES electric start. Big red. They've put, previous owner, well, guy just bought it and they had put a Chinese carburetor on here instead of the original. I'd recommend if you do that, keep your original and use the jets or save it for reference, because I took this carb off and cleaned it, made sure it was clean, and adjusted the valves. It's got an idle issue, and these jets aren't marked. I don't know what size they are. So I'm about to do some guesswork here, because right now it starts with a choke on. And it'll run. I know it's really cold right now, it's probably 20 degrees. But even after it's hot, as soon as you turn the choke off, it bobs. And I'll try to show you that now. Keep in mind it is cold. Choke's off, it just died completely. Hands off idle. Choke's off. Stab the gas and it dies. So we've got a lean situation in the carburetor. And I know that because I adjust the idle mixture screw, which in this case actually controls fuel, not air. So by backing it out, you're enriching the carburetor circuit. It took 8 turns to get this thing to even work when you stab the throttle. The problem with that is 8 turns out means it's going to fall out on its own. Typically you like to be about 3 turns out max on a idle mixture screw for that reason, and that just gives you the sign that your idle, or in this case the slow speed jet, needs addressing. So let's pull this thing inside, get the heater cranking, and I'll show you how to get to the carburetor without taking it off. Death trap. These things are so dangerous. You want to tip over pushing? Got the preferred method here, and that's using this tool here. You can get these at a home improvement store in the drill and bit aisle. I think it's about $20, but I use this all the time, especially for adjusting the idle mixture screws while the bike's running. You just put a handle in there, and you can count your turns out away near your body and not have to guess. But let's take some float bowl screws out with this. And I'll show you the second method, which I prefer less because it's more work and I charge by the hour. So everybody prefers me working less. So I pulled the tank off in the seat just to show you easier how to get this carb spun. I don't think you don't have to do it, but just for a video you do. Loosen the forward hose clamp, intake clamp, and then loosen your airbox clamp on the rubber hose. This is cold weather. These things are stiff, stiff, stiff. I'll show you a trick for making those go on again in this kind of weather too. Now you can spin this right on the manifold without removing it. As far as you think you can go without breaking the choke lever. Sometimes those are plastic on models and they break easy. Not even trying to cheat here. But throttle cable too, make sure that it's not in the bind or something. But now that it's sideways, just put a straight screwdriver right on those suckers and break them loose. So I got the last 2 screws, all 4 sitting there. Just for comparison, this is a Mikuni 38 with the small shoulder. And this is what came out of that carburetor. A large shoulder, long length, key in, with about the same diameter as a Mikuni 38. See, this will be tricky. See? So it's a 38 of a different brand. Here's what we're going to do. Instead of searching for this jet for hours, I've got the smallest drill bit that won't fit through this jet, which turned out to be a number 60. That's 40 thousandths. And I'm going to drill it out to that size, which my guess would be about a 40, which is larger than 38, right? Make sure we put this back. Just set the bowl back up and start all the screws before you tighten one. Start them all. Break. So, alright, those are all run in. Now let's torque them. A torque wrench would be ideal, a little screwdriver torque wrench. But I don't have the torque value or a torque wrench. So I'll do the AVE. Click your wrist. Seriously, you shouldn't have to grunt putting these in because you're going to strip them. It doesn't take much. You've got 4 bolts, equal clamping force, just to suspend a thin O-ring gasket to squeeze an O-ring gasket and keep it from leaking. It doesn't take a lot of clamping force, so don't go crazy. Don't ham fist it. You'll actually do more damage over tightening it. We'll get that centered back up. The top of the carburetor intake boot has a notch to show you where top is and level. Push it all the way forward, make sure it's good. And we're going to tighten these clamps back up, hook up our fuel line, and check the idle mixture. Back out in the cold. Where's that primer button? A second there. Choke on. Oh, it's a lot richer. Let's put choke over. Puttering along right now, it's too rich. So we're going to adjust the idle mixture screw. I'm going to clear it out. What I'm going to do is increase that screw, turn that screw in to lean the carburetor jet out and bringing the RPM up. And then we'll have to adjust the idle RPM in increments. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Just to clean it out. So all that proved was what we already knew, that jet was the wrong size. I've got a Keyhen brand. Now I think this is off a TRX, a newer TRX 300 or 400, late 80s. Let's see what jets are in it. The engines are very similar. And of course, every screw's stripped. Let me get a punch. Yeah, stripped carburetor screws or float bowl screws are classic. I see it all the time. That's why that three-wheeler is not restored, and it's kind of nice because it's all original, unrestored, and it hasn't been molested. There was a period, there's bikes like that now, like the KX250Fs, that people are kind of letting go and going fuel injected and all that. Those ATCs all sat for a period of unuse. They weren't popular. So kids got a hold of them and used a crescent wrench for everything and just basically bent everything you could bend, straightened it back out with a rock. So original examples are hard to find, and they fetch the most money. Alright, let's see what's in here. This is a stock. By the way, on your carburetor, Chinese or not, it's going to have the same layout, with the exception of that plastic ring. This is your idle screw, or slow speed screw they call it. That's your main jet with an emulsion tube on it. And that little fella right there is like a cold start jet for when you pull the choke. Yeah. That's a little bit of sorcery to me. This one is a crusty number 40. So, let's see. Let's put this 40 in there. And that took about 10 minutes to put that 40 jet in here. Let's see, we get it in neutral. Choke's off. If that's a bit lean, you can hear it kick, kick. Let's go ahead and put the choke on. So I'll put that number 42 jet in, and the idle mixture screw is backed out 3 turns. Choke is on. Just reminds me, I've had 3 fires in this garage, and one time it was from an ATC 125. We don't want another fire, but if I do, it'll at least be on film. Don't tell my landlord. 42, 7 turns out. Nothing. Go 45. I went ahead and I made a big jump. I went to 48. Let's see how that does. Choke is on. This isn't fun anymore. I've got a 52 in there now, so that's the 5th jet I've tried. 4th or 5th jet anyway. Seems like the 10th. Finally! Let's do the idle mixture. different thoughts on it. I like to go fat or rich, and then increase it and just get the highest possible idle RPM, and then back a quarter of a turn from that position where it idles the highest, and then check it by hitting the throttle. So here you go. Let's have a listen. I'm gonna go in, slowly turning. It's getting faster, a little faster, a little faster. It stopped getting faster. So I'm gonna go back a quarter turn. We're done. Bring the idle down just a little. Okay, we're not done. Alright, now we're done. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps. If you get a Chinese carburetor, first think about it. Don't. Try to get your original carburetor working, but if you do, it took a 52 idle jet, or they call it a, I'm losing my train of thought here. A slow jet in this case, and idle mixture screw ended up being around 2.5, 3. So good luck.